Western Spring Television. Ours it is.
Good morning, Nigeria. Good morning, world. Good to have you join us. We're very happy to join you as well on today's program, Morning Spring, on Western Spring Television, where we talk about very frank conversations and, of course, topical and trending issues in the nation. Issues of public importance for the betterment of our nation. That's what we critically look into every morning. Femi Ojo is my name. Good to know that you are there and you're here with us as well. On the television station, the channel rather, is on channel 190 Star Times, DTT, and also on different social media platforms, including YouTube at Western Spring Television. They promise to be very, very exciting. Once again, good morning. Thank you for joining us. And of course, Evelyn is there. Good morning, Evelyn.
Good morning, Femi. A beautiful day it is. Yes, it's a beautiful day. Arise and shine, Nigeria, and arise and shine, world.
Shine we shall.
Yes, it's a good day. It's Tuesday, the 20th day in the month of February 2024. Poco moving closer, inching closer to the end of February.
Yeah.
The days are counting, but remember, it is what we make count each day that matters. So ensure to go for gold and make your dreams come true. Right,
going for gold, talking about going for gold, and at the end of the day, if actually you couldn't get the gold, you can get the silver, in a kind of way, talking about Stanley Nwabali, who has become the toast of the people. Stanley Nwabali is the goalkeeper of the Super Eagles of Nigeria, and due to his heroic performance, especially at the semi-finals, fortunately, the team didn't get the gold. By the way, football is a team sport, so it's not an individual thing. For his state, Rivers has been celebrating him. He has met the governor. His people has even conferred the chieftaincy title on Stanley Nwabali. So he's Chief Stanley Nwabali right now. The people of the government of Rivers State, I think, awarded him, nominated him for national honors. By the way, and of course, gave him 20 million. Speaking about when it's your time, you talk about rising and shining, and I think Stanley Nwabali is shining right now. But then beyond Stanley Nwabali is about the issues of our nation, in our nation, with our nation.
Yeah.
The rocketing economy. Inflation was 23.92, and I think as of January, it's almost 24, almost 24. Now hedging towards 24, and it's even obvious. You don't really have to be an economist to know that something is definitely wrong every day. And I dare say something. I want to look at it from this angle, Evelyn. I think something is wrong with the economy, right? The inflation is skyrocketed, but I personally think, I was thinking yesterday, if I throughout the weekend, some people are exploiting this moment. I mean, this time that we are in to make sharp gains beyond the process of demand and supply. Yeah. This is how much I bought it. Is quite expensive, and I should sell it to make my gains. I think some people are speculating the way they do for dollars, speculating to say, okay, something is bad. It sold for 4 naira yesterday. We're in inflation period. Today, it should be sold at 6 naira. Just some people just inflating this thing, because I can't understand, and I have my explanation, that the rice, for example, that you bought 60,000 naira 2 days ago, you go to the market, for example, by the way, you go to the market 2 days later, you are finding it 64,000 naira. The next day, 65,000 naira. The thing is, what has happened within 3 days? Did that company produce another batch of rice? And one thing is this, fair price have not really significantly increased. So what's the problem?
Femi, when we do not have an organized system, this is what comes to play. A lot of people tend to exploit the situation and make it for their own, use it to their own advantage. Right. If we have an organized system, I don't think we are going to, be in this kind of situation. A lot of people, just like you said, want to make sharp gain, quick gains, and they know that the people are helpless at this time. Everybody knows what's happening in the country. So if you come to my store and I tell you, oh, the rice you bought 60,000 naira day before yesterday is now 65,000 naira, and you complain, I'll ask you, are you in Nigeria at all? Because it's everywhere. Everyone knows what's happening. So we do not actually know what is what or who is who. Everyone is just trying to, survive, whether legally or illegally in court. So it is what it is.
It is what it is. But I think, and I'm saying it with the benefit of the fact that we ourselves, the citizens, should take it easy on ourselves.
Sure.
Let's just take it easy, right? The indices are bad or not too good, but let's just say it as it is. It's bad. And then factors of production now are not smiling. Manufacturers now are not really smiling. But how can you explain that an item that you bought 60,000 naira yesterday, you go back there today is 62, you go back there the following day is 63. The same stock. These are the issues. Let me give you a personal experience. I wanted to get something. Then I reached out to a vendor. Okay, how much is this thing? The person wasn't answering. After a time, the person answered and said, okay, the thing is now available. So how much is the price? The person said, I should wait till the following day. What happened? He said, it's the following day that they are going to fix the price of the thing. I said, how about the old stock or the ones you have? He said, okay, wait till the following day. Now, when we don't talk the price, I could tell you. Meaning, not that you didn't have. Why can't you sell based on what you bought? Put your gains, but some people have to gather, possibly at the Monday market. That was yesterday to say, guys, when I know how they go, this is no more 50,000 naira now. Let's agree it will be sold for 60,000 naira. So this is no more about demand and supply. It's just people knowing that there is inflation in town. It's okay to keep inflating prices now because everybody will say, in Yoruba Palace, in Kotiwon, you are in Nigeria now, things are now expensive. So can we please just tone it down? We can't keep blaming the government, and we ourselves, we are putting heavy load. There's a particular project being done in my church, and the pastor was addressing the church on Sunday, and he said, since this project started like 3 weeks ago, they bought cement at 7 different prices, just a month, 7 different prices. And on Sunday, I think he said the last price was 12,000 naira. Something that used to be sold 5,000 naira like a month ago, thereabout. Are the issues. The Dangote produced cement yesterday, produce another different one today, we produce another different one tomorrow. These are the issues with Nigerians.
Really not a palatable
Don't let us be like these. You remember what happened when President Bola Tinubu said subsidy is over? By evening of that day, fuel stations owners have adjusted their prices.
Speaks to the Nigeria factor, to the Nigeria people.
Why do we keep doing that?
And I would always say this, reiterate this, that the office of the citizen of the Federal Republic of Nigeria is the highest office there is, and you should ensure to play your part. When you point accusing fingers at the government, ensure that your own slate is clean for you to do that. You don't do that while also having baggages, of what have you in your own corner. So I think we should continually speak about that. We should continually call people, telling them to be good citizens of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And, Femi, a very sad situation that happened yesterday right here in Osun State in the beautiful city of EVELYN, Obafemi Awolowo University to be precise. A veterinary doctor, a veterinary technologist, I should say, was lost. Mr. Olawuyi, he was killed by a 9-year-old male lion while he was feeding it. And reports have it that these lions were actually born into his hands, and he has been taking care of them. He
has been the one
for the past 9 years. And while he was feeding this lion, the lion charged at him.
Something went wrong.
Destroy and actually killed him. All actions taken to ensure that the lion stopped didn't, and we lost that man, Mr. Olawuyi, and the university at this time is mourning that man. He has dedicated years and years of his life to the university, Obafemi Awolowo University. And of course, we learned that the lion has been euthanized, killed. for that. It's really a sad
It is a sad
situation.
one. So even though that, it's the same man has been taking care of these, lions since the lion was a cub, to this moment that something went wrong. We are not opportune to really know what went wrong. But I saw the video yesterday. It was bad, really. And the lion was shot and, neutralized or euthanized, as you have said. It's a sad one. Our prayers and thoughts with the family of the departed and the university community as well. Everybody was involved. They had to issue a statement to say something really bad has happened. We don't even know what to say. This is not about blaming anybody, but whatever needs to be done needs to be done. Wild is still wild, by the way, no matter how we've seen people who try to domesticate wild animals. I'm not saying that's the issue here. And at the end of the day, you see that sometimes something still goes wrong. Wild is still wild.
And animals will be animals.
Yeah, to know that an animal you'll be taking care of for 9 years will still pounce on you and get you killed is something that cannot be explained. These are the issues. And of course, we learned that the first son, the first daughter, of the president, the Aloja General Sheyi Tinubu himself, all of them went to social media or they spoke in different fora to say, give our father some time. He will do what he has to do. Sheyi was saying how he wish some of the steps his father is taking now had been taken before, he wouldn't be in this pain, but give my father some time. And people brought about the tweet of Sheyi in July, where it was saying, you guys should give my father a chance. He's going to do it. These are the issues. We don't have more time. We'll go on this break. When we'll come back, we'll look at the papers. It's the Morning Spring on Western Spring Television. All right. Evelyn, you are up.
All right, welcome back. It is the newspaper review, and right here we are going to be looking at, stories as reported by different national dailies for today, Tuesday, 20th of February, 2024. And starting with the Punch newspaper this morning. The Punch newspaper has this story, Labour mobilizes for protests. Tanker driver strike triggers fuel queues. FG meets drivers, filling stations shut in Abuja, Kano, Ogun. Ipman urges dialogue. NLC adamant, workers vow to join a demonstration as Oyo protesters lament hunger. Yeah, we saw the video of that protest in Oyo State, people protesting against the hardship and the hunger in the land. And this follows actually pockets of protest all across the country. We've had in Mina, Niger State, we've had in Kano State, we've had in Osun State, we've had in Ogun State, and Oyo State taking the baton at this time. Away from that, 50 Niger Republic-bound food trucks intercepted in Zamfara. And sad news we took earlier on, lion kills OAU veterinary worker during feeding. Cement manufacturers list conditions to crash spirulina price. What are the conditions? Get onto the Punch newspaper and read for yourself. Top corner of the Punch front page this morning, AFCC detains ex-Kwara Governor Ahmed over alleged 10 billion naira fraud. Then Asovila, DHQ, CBN face disconnection over 47 billion naira debt. FEMI, I find these actually interesting. These are ministries, these are agencies, and the Asovila, the seat of power, itself being disconnected, over 47 billion naira debt. That's talking about electricity debt. And we all are quick to face the ordinary man on the street who bypass. I'm not justifying bypassing. It's bad, it's terrible, it's criminal. So, but then the leaders that are supposed to be the one leading by example. The other day, we saw the report of Oyo State, the Oyo State Secretariat owing several, millions of naira, and the IBDC guys actually disconnected the secretariat. I know there was an issue back then, but then it was on record that the secretariat, your state government was owing IBDC huge amount of money, and now we also see this. So which way to go? What is the way to go if our leaders are not leading by example?
To the tune of billions, knowing fully well that some of these things will have been taken care of in the budget. These are the things. It's not that the money is not there. Now, if this kind of money have been released is another thing. Although many persons came yesterday and say maybe some of these bills are exaggerated, are overestimated billings, by the way, because there are some government institutions that it won't be as a result of you giving them prepaid meter or secretariat. I'm not sure they do that through prepaid meter. How many offices will you put prepaid meter, or if there is a centralized one? But either it's estimated, overestimated, underestimated, wanting to ensure that the company has said, people in government are owing them to the tune of billions that they should pay off. Particularly, I find it discomforting, actually, to say that the villa is OE. No, who should pay in advance, if not you? Because the money is there. These are the issues. But then it is what it is. Business is business. And it takes some effort, by the way, for a company like the Abuja Electricity Distribution Company to list. I'm sure they will have thought it 1 or 2 times to say, can we stomach this, or we should just let it out there? Business is business.
Business is business. Lastly, on the Punch newspaper for today, Senate asks FIRS to suspend 17 trillion naira tax waivers. Gets the details of that in the Punch newspaper for today.
All right, to the Guardian. Conscience nurtured by truth. The Guardian newspaper is next. And road infrastructure development. Federal government grants 4 trillion naira tax credit in 5 years as inflation threatens a scheme. Federal government grants 4 trillion naira tax credit in 5 years as inflation threatens a scheme. All right, and inflation may slow that pace. Talking about infrastructural works, and Nigeria needs 438 trillion naira investment in infrastructure over the next 10 years. All right, and protest over hardship spreads to Oyo as 26 million Nigerians grapple with hunger. 26. I wonder, someone wants to say, is that statistics through just 26? But then it is what it is, according to the Guardian. Zulum sacks IDP camp boss for wash facilities diversion. Newspeak 28. Zulum, that's that Borno State governor, sacks IDP camp boss for wash, that's WASH facilities diversion. And I think that's a governor who knows what he's doing. To have found out that there is a diversion of a particular program or items, okay, and these will serve whoever that is there. I hope thorough investigation has been done before this was done. But it shows that the next person coming on board will know that you don't dare, just sit there. It might not even be the one that has done the diversion, but you as the head should take responsibility, not just to sit there and then, give orders without really following them. Because at times, you see the governor himself, Zulum, come into the camp to superintend distribution of these items. So if the governor can be there, so what about the boss? It is what it is. A nation or a society that is, the culture is you do good, you are rewarded. You are found wanting, you face the consequences. That is a proper society. A panic on OAU campus as lion kills zookeeper, injures another. We want to know why there is panic. All right. Panorama page 2. EFCC goes Kwara ex-governor for alleged financial impropriety. Naira drops to new all-time low, and black market trades at 1,730 naira per dollar. They say only. All right, 1,730. Yeah, that's the reality. How insecurity, hunger threaten Nigeria's existence. And this is coming, by the way. I think the AFDB, African Development Bank, spoke to that effect, and some other countries that are having these issues to say, you guys should fix up. If not, this thing might spiral into what is not palatable at all. These are the issues, and that's all from the front page of The Guardian for today.
All right, from the Guardian newspaper for this morning, we'll check out what's going on in the nation, and we are going to take this on the nation from the Nation newspaper this morning. Diversion of 10 billion naira. EFCC detains ex-Kwara governor. Ahmed's trial slated for Ilorin is ready to take questions on his stewardship. And right there, if you can look closely, why cement cannot sell below 7,000 naira by manufacturers. People are asking why the continued hike in the price of cement. Right. Some people have bought, in some parts of the country, we have some people selling for 12,000 naira, as high as 13,000 naira. Yeah. And manufacturers are telling us why the cement cannot sell below 7,000 naira at this time. Bottom strip, no time to scrap LCDA, says Ayedatiwa. And still on the Nation, lion kills zookeeper at OAU. Top corner, the Nation newspaper this morning. Discord threatens power cut to Asa Villa. Others over 47 billion naira debts. And Oyo disburses 500 million naira to 2,078 small business owners. Oyo State, people say doing the Lord's work there. And lastly, on the Nation newspaper this morning, ASU members get 4 months withheld salaries. Though do not campaign before April 24. INEC warns. And a lot of things happening, things happening in my home state there, Edo State. It's been just, I would say it's been dramatic in Edo State. I mean, with the APC primary election, and we had 3 winners from...
3 acclaimed winners.
3, yeah, they're claiming to be winners, but of course, one was actually announced by the chairman of the Edo State primary election. That's Governor Hope Uzodimma. And of course, the National Working Committee of the All Progressives Congress have said, we only recognize the winner announced by the chair. And that's what it is. And that's in the person of Mr. Dennis Idahosa. And,
you know, when I saw the news, and, you know, I think politicians are special breed, interesting people. We learned, according to a report, that the APC, you know, made Uzodimma the chairman of that particular process, and then they had a returning officer as well. Yeah. So the chairman, if you are going to go by any clause, the resident electoral commissioner of any state is not always the one to make the announcement. He's the returning officer. And in this case, we are talking about what happened with Huduari in Adamawa, because he was a resident electoral officer. He went there to announce Binani. By the way, he doesn't have the power constitutional. He's the returning officer. Now there is a returning officer in this Edo election, and that one announced somebody. Uzodimma, the chairman, announced Idahosa. I think there's another person who announced another person. So one of them went to, interesting one, you know, many of them are saying, give us our certificate of return because we are the ones who are supposed to. These are the issues. You just feel if this thing is happening with primaries, just the primary, within the same party, just few people, then what happens, especially during the main election? It will be an interesting ride.
Very interesting.
You know, when you say your home state, I was wondering, really, Evelyn? Okay.
It is.
Let Makinde hear you, this thing that you're saying. All right, straight to the Vanguard. The Vanguard newspaper is next right now. The Vanguard newspaper. And here we go. Forest crisis. 2024 budget suffers major dislocations. Really? You think it's bone there, talking about dislocations. Forest crisis, 2024 budget suffers major dislocations. Couple of riders. Benchmark exchange rates now have the value. Revenue expenditure estimates unrealistic. Analysts see profligacy pushing up deficit to 20 trillion naira. And of course, the picture of the protest in Ibadan. There, you have the picture there. Protesters marching against harsh economy in the country on the streets of Ibadan or your state. And I think the leaders should take these things very seriously. You know, we've had situations like this that people started pockets of violence just by few people. And the people at the helm of affairs then feel it's just few people who are disturbing the street. Before you know what's happening, the whole thing boomerangs, and we don't want that. We can't afford that, obviously.
Okay,
at this time, let our leaders fix up. And everybody, middlemen, businessmen and women, let's please fix up. These are the issues. Electricity, forest crisis, inflation push meter prices up by 80%. Sport, 2025 AFCON, draw holds in Cairo today. And suspected armed herders invade 3 Benue local governments, kill 10 in Jihad South. Senate kicks against 17 trillion naira loss on tax waivers. And top strip, 92% of Nigerian workers in informal employment. Bureau statistics, Wale Educadoso, SEC management team visit Wigwe's parents. And of course, ECOWAS crisis, Gowon turns down federal government ECOWAS invitation to speak on the issue. A couple of headlines here, very interesting ones, but this is where we pull the brakes. Thank you. At this time, when we come back, we'll speak on the economy. What are we doing rightly? What are we not doing rightly? What should we be doing? The handlers of the economy. Many issues arising. The crazy inflation that keeps going up at an all-time rate. Food inflation. You know, these are the issues. These are peers. Like, we are not autopilot speaking about our economy. Like, we are just hoping for the best. The policies, are they what we need? Quick fixes, long-term fixes? Some of these questions and more will be answered after this break. We have a very important stakeholder to speak with. It's the Morning Spring on Western Spring Television. Don't go nowhere. All right, thank you for joining us. Just like I said before we went on that break, we're speaking about the economy today, because it's one thing that we can shy away from. It's what connects all of us. So, you know, the mode of doing business, commerce, what we eat, how it is supplied, the policy direction of the government, the business, you know, guys, the complete ecosystem. So even if you are not talking about education, you are not talking about agriculture, you must talk about the economy. Even some of these things that I mentioned are still tied to how the economy is doing, by the way. And, you know, in January 2024, this is from the National Bureau of Statistics, right here, that sees to the data, you know, how it is done in Nigeria here. In January 2024, the headline inflation rate increased to 29.90%. This is a government agency bringing these now in January 2024. And relative to the December 2023 headline inflation rate, which was 28.92, by the way, in December. But looking at the movement, the January 2024 headline inflation rate showed an increase of 0.98%. That means movement from December 2023 to January 2024, just last month. And 0.98% points when compared to December. And similarly, on a year-on-year basis, the headline inflation rate was 8.08% points higher compared to the rate recorded in January 2023, which was 21.82. And, you know, it's at an all-time high. Food inflation is something that you don't even want to dare, at least at this time. And just, you know, as we were discussing with my colleague earlier, you don't have to be an economist to know that something is wrong. Your purchasing power is dropping by the day. In the foreign, you know, foreign currencies to Nigerian currency right now, it's at an abysmal rate. We're learning something around 1,770 at the parallel market. These are the issues with us. The handlers of the government are saying, you know, these are some of the steps that previous governments are supposed to have taken, talking about unification of the naira to foreign exchange, currencies rather, and of course, talking about the removal of the FEB subsidy. These are the issues. The consequences of these actions are the one trailing the people. But some others believe even the handlers of the government have not really done well. But to give us a sense, you know, of what is wrong and what we should be doing right. We are being joined by a financial analyst, you know, all the way from the United States, Mr. Kaluaja. Kaluaja joins us right now via Zoom. Hello, good morning.
Hey, good morning. How are you doing today?
Very good. Thank you for joining us. Now, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
All right, thank you. You've seen what is happening. You're a financial person yourself, and you know, from the Nigeria Bureau of Statistics, the inflation just from December 28.92 is now 28. Edging toward 24%, and these are the issues we are grappling with. In our climb here, we were saying it earlier. When you go to the market to get an item at 1 naira, you go back the following day, you are getting it 2 naira. The following day, it keeps increasing. What exactly is wrong? Where did we get it wrong?
Yeah, sad one. So inflation in Nigeria is driven by food. We measure inflation by the consumer price index, and the consumer price index in Nigeria is made up of 51% food. So the price of, say, your Mercedes-Benz is driven by the increase in the price of food. So when inflation goes up, the rate you've just quoted goes up, the banks increase their interest rates, thus your Mercedes-Benz goes up because the price of food has gone up. So it's a food, or should we say a supply-driven inflation. And it's going up because the supply of food has fallen. Why is it falling? The hotspots in Nigeria still experience banditry, internal crisis. That has reduced the supply of food from the farmers to the cities. That has driven up the price of food. So if you look at the inflation rate in Nigeria, it's not just a number you want to pick. Look at the trend. It's been going up, and that's what's really happening. It's a supply-driven inflation, meaning there's lack of supply going into Nigeria, which is causing the prices to go up. Basic economics. And that does reflect across the board in everything that you buy in Nigeria. So everything is expensive because food drives inflation rate, and inflation rate then drives prices across Nigeria.
Let's take it back a bit. May 29, President Tinubu came in to say, you know what, at his inaugural speech, subsidy is gone, and that it's something that the country cannot afford to keep paying. In fact, there is no provision for it from June to December 2023. And many persons believed maybe it was too hasty, that he should have gotten into government firstly to see the books, to really, project far, instead of, just talking about the idea of, okay, this is what Nigeria can afford at this time. And the consequences, in fact, Nigeria has never remained the same, economically speaking, since then. And these are the issues, saying it's a pain that we have to go through. But for the benefit of hindsight, talking about government policies right now, did you believe it was the right time at that time? Or, somebody must just take that step, that hard step?
Yeah, I think he had no choice. It's not a question of if he should have done it then. He had no choice. The subsidy should have gone in 2011. President Buhari kept the subsidy by borrowing and printing. So we couldn't afford the fuel subsidies, but we kept it alive by borrowing and printing nearly 23 trillion naira. When the new president came in, Bola Tinubu came in, so he saw the books. There's no money to pay the subsidy. So he had to basically say the subsidy had gone and actually stop the subsidy because he had no choice. The problem is not removing the subsidy. The problem was that they failed to put in palliatives immediately that they removed the subsidy. They took their time. If you remember, they were talking about 8,000 a month. Then they went to share rice. Then they went to, start to do all this. So they've been catching up to the mood of the nation. Yeah. They should have, when you increase the price in any ecosystem, price will go up. What was their response? We should give you rice. Where are the bosses? So that's been the problem, not the increase in the removal of the subsidy pump price, but the lack of palliatives to then follow through to cushion the effect of an increase in cost when wages have been flat. That's where they dropped the ball, right? So they have to go back and reintroduce the subsidy. So right now, subsidy is back, maybe not 100%, but a bit of it is back. That's why your fuel price is now fixed across Nigeria. So the problem or the failure was not passing the palliatives when they removed this fuel subsidy, not the policy itself. Nigeria cannot afford imported PMS. It's that simple because it's priced in US dollars. Anything US dollars, Nigerians cannot afford it.
But one will say that you are the expert here. The removal of the subsidy or the stoppage in the payment of subsidy, rather, as President Tinubu has done since last year, will you say and the attendant consequences, is it the reason why we are here now? Because for many persons that are living here, even the middle class, that is if the middle class is still existing, by the way, many persons are shouting You know, the take home cannot even take people home again. You can't afford basic needs. I would want to say, is it really the decision to stop the payment of subsidy that has really gotten us here? Or the handlers of the economy have done a very bad job? Because many persons will say, maybe we are not supposed to be here. Somebody somewhere has dropped the ball along the line. Do you agree?
Yes, so quick comment. I'm in Nigeria right now, right? The main problem in Nigeria is the lack of exports. That's what the problem is. The PMS subsidy is a secondary issue. Your main problem is the lack of exports. Exports of what? Crude oil. We've gone from 2.2 million barrels per day in 2005. Right now, we're doing below 1.5. Our population has gone up. Our expenses have increased, but our income from the export of crude oil has crashed from 2.2 in 2005 to now about 1.5 in about 2024. That's the main problem. You're not exporting, so you have no currency to back up these prices. So the PMS exports is you are seeing the effect of unable to pay for the PMS imports. It's not the PMS subsidy that's the problem, but you can't afford it. That's the problem. As a policy, you can subsidize and help your citizens, but if you can't afford it, you cannot afford it. The problem that, again, this administration is doing that, they're not explaining these things to Nigerians. It's like Nigerians think it's a choice. We can subsidize or we can't subsidize. You cannot afford to import PMS because it's priced in dollars. Anything priced in United States dollars, Nigerians cannot afford. That's why you see all the companies leaving, because their products are priced in US dollars and Nigerians cannot afford any USD product because your wages are fixed at 30,000 naira minimum wage, but your costs have increased exponentially. That's the central problem. You have a very, very unproductive economy. Wages are flat, unemployment is high. You've got to fix those, especially exports. Then everything else falls into place. If you don't fix exports, whatever you do in the CBN and inflation wouldn't have any effect.
Right.
All right, Mr. Aja, looking through the data now, it shows that this year, January 2024, is the worst January in the history of Nigeria since the return to democracy, on close to 30% inflation rate. Yeah. I mean, the closest to that is in the year 2004 at 22%. Yeah. And the situation right now is not palatable. People are hungry, and I'm sure you must have heard of protests in different parts of Nigeria, people asking the government to do something or, move out and let another person come in to do the work. But then you have, established this morning that the subsidy had to go, but it's because the government didn't put the horse before the cart. That's what's happening right now. But I'd like to ask you, are there quick fixes? I mean, you've talked about the fact that we need to export more, but are there quick fixes that the government can actually do at this time to bring down the tension?
Yes, there is. There's a very, very quick fix. You have to allow a 1 to 6 months free import of food. So it's basically the Nigerian customs. Anybody bringing any food product into Nigeria can bring it in free of charge, which means you don't pay any duty, you don't pay any VAT, you pay nothing. If you bring in food, inflation rate in Nigeria falls. Everybody in Nigeria gets a price hike because now the cost of what you're spending on food goes down. Let me give the numbers. Yeah. Nigerians' average budget is 67% on food. So the average Nigerian spends 67% on food. It's the highest in the world. It shows a lot of poverty in Nigeria because we have an unproductive economy. If you bring in food free of charge, price of food fall, inflation falls, Nigerians get a price hike. Why should you import? Because nothing you can grow in Nigeria can generate in about 3 months. And the food supply in Nigeria is down because of insecurity. Bring in food immediately, food prices go down, the tension sort of reduces because Nigerians can at least eat. The point you have now is that food is very, very high. You mentioned it in your intro, 33% for food inflation. Once that is high, no policy can happen if people are paying 33% per month for food.
All right, this free importation you just mentioned, it seems the president is not in that same school of thought, because recently the president said we can feed ourselves and Nigeria has no issue, has no business importing what we are to eat. You know, reacting to what Mr. President said, do you think we are on our way to Venezuela, as some PDP governor said the other day?
Well, what's Venezuela? High inflation, high unemployment, low productivity, low export. That's where we are right now. We're not on our way to Venezuela. We're already in stagflation. We're already there. We're just not at the level of Venezuela. If you look at the misery index, that's an economic term, high employment and high inflation. Nigeria is right there with Venezuela. We are not just at the level that Venezuela was, but we are literally right there. Nigeria has always imported food. It's not a new thing to say Nigeria is going to import food. We've always imported food, even when things were good. Right now, the supply of food in Nigeria has fallen because of bandits, because of low productivity. You must import to meet the balance. You simply can't say we in Nigeria can meet our food needs. How? Poultry is expensive because maize is now expensive. So you can't feed your bird, you can't feed the fish. So it's a multiplier effect across the board. Even bringing maize alone would reduce the price of poultry, reduce the price of flour and all that. So Nigerian families have their basics, their beans and ewa, things like that. Cassava is in Nigeria, but number one, the producer of cassava in Nigeria. We don't need to import cassava. But the machines to convert cassava tubers to flour or to gari, that's where we're lacking. So that's why it's talking about the productivity now. If you import the food, you can also have to fix medium term the productivity inside Nigeria to allow us to make cassava cheaper. It's too expensive to manufacture goods in Nigeria. That's the medium to long-term problem. But right now, as we speak, in the next 90 days, the problem is high cost of food. So you import food into Nigeria free of charge now to douse the tension whilst you then focus on the medium to long term. You can't be doing economics when people are hungry. Like he says, in the long run, we're all dead.
All right, just before Femi comes up, since the very day Mr. President got into office, May 29, 2023, looking through the trajectory of his governance till date, would you say the president has the right hands, talking about his economic team, or do you think they actually know what they are doing? Because it seems these people are disconnected from reality. You are talking about free importation of food into the country. They are saying we are going to block importation. Do you think they really know what they are doing at this time?
I think they are speaking of different parts of the sorry about that. They're speaking of different parts of their mouth, right?
Okay.
All right, some network issues there.
Yeah.
Definitely, we are going to reconnect with Kalu Aja, giving us some insight into what we are currently experiencing in the country. Says we are not on our way to Venezuela. We can as well say we are already there right now because of what we are experiencing.
Only that not on the same scale as Venezuela. Means all the indices that you could say a country is doing Venezuela right now. Nigeria has it, only that the scale is quite different. But then the aim of having this conversation, just like we do every day, is to have a better Nigeria. That's why we have this frank, sometimes difficult conversation. As they say, good things don't come easy. And these are the issues that we are dealing with at this time. Everything that, anything that affects the economy affects the people.
Definitely.
This is it. Yeah, just like I said, somebody in Alekuodo in Oshogbo, or in Daura in Katsina, or Aleru in Kebbi, somewhere in Anambra State, might not understand these figures and percentage of the MBS, but he knows that as at December, with my 1,000 naira, I could afford this and these and these. Right now, my 1,000 naira will hardly afford something significant, even if it's only an item. And these are the things that we are dealing with. We'll go on this break. When we return, hopefully, Kalu will have returned, and then we'll continue the rest of the conversation, the CBN policies, the IMF, advisory, and many things to really talk about. Please stay with us. All right, thank you once again for joining us. You know, our analyst for today, Aja, suggested that we have free importation, you know, of food, by the way, to crash the prices of food as we currently have right here in Nigeria. But one want to say that even now, are we talking about importation from our neighbors, Niger, that possibly we're having issues with due to their position and the military junta there, or some of these sub-African regional neighbors, the importation will coming from them, or you're talking about importation from the US, from Europe, which many persons might think these will still be expensive because our neighbors, some of them are even unstable at the moment, politically speaking. Which will you suggest, Mr. Kalu?
I don't think it matters where it comes from. What matters is that the cost goes down. And when we say free, to get the point, we are already importing food. Nigeria has never manufactured enough food to feed its population. We import beans from Burkina Faso. We import rice from Thailand. We import tomatoes from Italy and all that. We've always imported food. Go to the market. All we're saying new is don't charge import duty and the price falls. That's the only new thing there. Don't charge import duties. All the rice in Nigeria is from Benin Republic. It's from abroad, but it comes to Benin Republic, it's coming to Nigeria. Same with the beans coming from Burkina Faso and all that. So it's not new to import food. Nigeria exports and imports food. Rice from Kepi goes out to Niger Republic. We get food coming in. It's been there for centuries. It's not a new thing. But if you want to do a stimulus that would affect every Nigerian immediately, then you waive customs duty, you waive VAT on food imports. This means that the bag of rice will come in and probably sell for 25,000 naira. That's a salary increase to every Nigerian because now the bag of rice you bought for 50,000 naira, you can buy for 25,000 naira. So instantly you reduce your purchasing power goes up artificially. You can get that food cheaper. That's the only quick fix I can see. Any other thing you're talking about is medium to long term. You want to grow crops, you want to import tractors, that is medium to long term. Right now, food is expensive. I'm in Nigeria right now. I went to the market yesterday and I see what's going on. And I came in and I changed dollars. I see what's going on. So to immediately arrest the spiraling inflation, immediately arrest the food insecurity, you have to let food come in. Every nation imports food. There is no economic pride in saying we're not going to import food. If we import education, we import healthcare. So I know one complains about that. But food is 67% of the average Nigerian budget. It's 51% of the consumer price index. It should be the number one thing that we want to import when it's a problem. There's no pride. We have to look at the numbers and then take action.
All right. Mr. Aja, so you do not see the sharing of palliatives by the government. I mean, the federal government said states now have more allocation from the FAC now, and they should actually ensure that this trickles down to the local government and to the people at the grassroots. So you do not see the sharing of palliatives, the distribution of grains. I mean, the president spoke the other time that 42,000 metric tons of grains will be distributed all across the country. You don't see this as quick fixes?
No, there's no grain to be distributed anywhere. We're just making stuff on the news. There's nothing going on. I tracked the grain distribution to my local government in Hafia, Arochukwu. They brought a trailer load of 30 bags of rice. And someone said it's from one party, 30 bags of rice also came to local government, in my own local government. And if you look at the videos you see online, lots of people struggling for rice. If rice is distributed, you will see it because the prices will fall. So you don't have to look for any videos. If the price does not fall, rice has not been distributed. It's pure economics. More supply, prices reduce. So all that we're sharing metric tons of rice is audio. You need to see, it has to be transparent. During COVID, where I was, there were ATM machines disbursing rice. You go to the ATM machine, you put in your national ID card, and rice, you get rice from the ATM machine. It's clear, it's apparent, it's measurable. In Nigeria, we just say we're distributing metric tons of rice. Nothing happens because the price doesn't fall. You need to get serious. Let the private sector do it. That's why I said remove the import duty. So the private sector would import the rice to get to the market across Nigeria. Will it hurt the Nigerian economy in the short term? Yes, because you are importing, and imports are not too good for any economy. But what's the solution? You grow rice. Even if you grow rice today, when will it germinate? Yeah. we're talking about what we can, short-term, immediate issues right now. Then medium to long-term, you're fixing the productivity. The problem in Nigeria is the productivity. It's too expensive to manufacture in Nigeria. That's the medium to long-term. But you put on a track, the economic thing put on a track, power supply, insecurity, bandits, that's medium to long-term. Right now, you announce tomorrow, customs will not charge VAT or import duty on anything to do with food. Tractors, rice, palm oil, anything, fertilizer has to do with food comes in. Immediately the price in Nigeria will fall by at least 25%. Immediately, even before the rice comes in. Because now the market will react to that news. So immediately the rice price comes down. If cost of food comes down, your inflation rate in Lagos, what you lend money to buy your phones in Lagos will come down. Because the inflation rate is driven by the cost of food. So MPR is attached to CPI. It will come down. So you see the multiplier effect in the economy. You just can't sit down and say with pride, we're not going to import food. That's what the numbers are telling you.
All right. Brilliant one there. Although even the Mr. President has said, no, we are able to, feed ourselves. And you have just spoken to there is no reason for the, economy pride. It is not helping. And these are the issues. But, one of the issues at this time, or one of the problems that government and handlers have been able to identify, especially about this food inflation, is that the problem of hoarders, the problem of middlemen who go to markets, who go to farm centers to, get this food and mop it up, go somewhere to hoard it, to warehouse it, and later when they see that the whole place, there is scarcity, then they bring it out, to be selling at any price that they want. Now, if you're saying, and that has always been an issue, by the way, but if you're saying now that the government, according to a suggestion, to allow free food importation, no VAT by the customs, no import duty, many persons will say the so-called middlemen, the so-called big men, are they not the same people who will have access to these things right from the port and go there with vessels and tankers and trailers and trucks and hoard these things and warehouse it somewhere, and they will not allow these things to have the effect? How do we fix the problem of middlemen, businessmen, so-called big men who wants to exploit the masses for their quick gains, and it appears like they're having a free day. Nobody's checking them.
You don't hoard what's in supply. Nobody hoards pure water because it's everywhere. People hoard dollars, people hoard fuel, people hoard rice because the supply is limited. So once you hoard it, the price goes up and you sell. When you flood the market with output, there is no hoarding. Hoarding is a consequence of limited supply and high demand. So you've got to allow, that's why I said allow the borders, allow everyone to import. If you hoard your rice and I import 100 bags of rice, I will undercut you. You can only hoard when you have limited importers that now fix the prices. So the middlemen go away. What you see today is economic dislocation. People are taking advantage of what's happening in Nigeria to make a lot of money because there is limited supply. And when you keep on saying I'm going to close the borders, you are making it worse. So if I have a bag of rice, listen, last year I told my followers on Twitter, go and buy rice and keep it because it is better store of value than Naira. That's come to pass, right? As long as there is supply problems, the cost of any commodity is going to go up. You can't fix it by saying we're going to go after holders. It's economics. You can't fight laws of economics by laws of men. You've got to increase the supply any way you can. That's what you need to do. It's not emotional. Economics doesn't react to emotion. It reacts to cold, hard numbers. So when you import, or if you say everybody can import, land borders, sea borders, air borders, the price of food will come down. Yeah. Even before you import the first bag of rice, once you announce this policy, the price of food in the market will come down to 5%, because people now, the market will price in the impending supply and drop prices today. We are doing replacement price in Nigeria. So if I have rice in my shop, I am selling it at the price I'll buy a new bag of rice, not the price I bought it. So the inflation keep on going up and up and up. Once you break that cycle, the price falls.
All right. And one will say for the local, farmers who will want to say, we are trying. The economic atmosphere is very harsh. The security in dimension is there. We're trying to do all we can. At least you will see 1, 2, 3, or 4, group of farmers coming together to produce some of these things rice farmers, beans farmers, who are going through the hordes to make sure they produce. Now, if this suggestion of yours is taken and food floods the market, what becomes of them? Because when that idea of importation of food was first mentioned, some of these manufacturers, rice millers, locally come out to say, these will not pay us. This will spoil business for us. How do we connect that?
Yeah, what's happening today? Are they making money today? No. Are we getting cheap food? No. Economics does not give you solutions. It gives you choices. You can do what you're doing today and have high food prices and manufacturers not making any money or not making any sales, or you can import food and at least the CPI inflation rate falls. You have to choose your poison. It won't give you a solution. It gives you choices. You choose the least option or the least best option. That's what you want to do in Nigeria. The fact of the matter today is that food is not a security issue. If you don't fix the banditry and the insecurity in the middle belt and the north, where the bulk of the food is grown, food cannot fall. That's simple. But you can't fix that in 3 months or in 1 year. You need a concerted military plan to go in and restore security to those areas. While that is going on, import food. I mean, let me give you an analogy. If you want to do a party, you hire chairs. You import chairs to do a party. You don't use the chairs in your house. You say, oh, I'm going to do a party for just 1 day. So I'm going to hire a canopy and chairs for that 1 day. After that day, I return the chairs and the canopy. It's the exact same thing. You don't say, because I don't want to import food. Once you do the party with the chairs and canopies I have in my house, that's pride. Your guests will stand. So immediately you want to do the party, you import the chairs, you do your party, you give the canopy back, the chairs back. It would make bad economic sense to keep those higher chairs for 1 year. Same thing in Nigeria. We can't import our way for after 1 year or 2 years. So short-term, limited, targeted import. Not every food product, by the way. Rice, maize, tomatoes. Go after maybe just these three, because maize gives you your flour, it gives you your feed for poultry. Same thing with rice. It's a staple in Nigeria right now. Same thing with tomato, even meat. Go after just 1 or 4 targeted imports and say, these guys can come in. The government can even buy it. Go to Russia, go to Ukraine, bring in maize. It's surplus there. Have an arrangement with them. Bring it into Nigeria. That's what Pakistan is doing. That's what all those countries are doing. Flood the market. Give it to the millers. The price would fall. You need that in the next 90 to 180 days. That's what you need to do right now. It's maths. It's not emotion. It's maths, really.
All right, talking about economics, giving you choices and not solutions, there are calls in some quarters that the government should enforce price control. This is a choice. Do you consider it a solution?
That's the worst thing I've heard. When I heard it, I was out to pass out. Once you do price in country Nigeria, price is going to go up 1,000%. Nowhere have you controlled price as worked. Nowhere. That's what the Soviet Union did. Once you want to control my price, you create a black market. That's all you're going to do. There's a black market for Naira because the CBN tried to control the price of Naira. Same with fuel. There's fuel price. You see it on the pumps, or you see guys selling jerry cans outside the filling station. So the price of black market is created once you want to control prices. You want to ignore the black market. You want to let the prices find their true level, then you can come in and subsidize. But to say you will tell a manufacturer or a seller how much to sell its product, that's a fool's errand. They'll just drop that idea completely, government. Yeah, just drop it.
All right, 21.4% is the projection for the CBN governor, Yemi Cardoso. Talk about inflation rate by the end of this year. December 2024. Do you see that coming to pass?
Unless he's able to get, number one, food prices lower, which he cannot. He's a CBN governor. He can focus on the monetary side, which means the volume of money-driven inflation is what he can do. Apart from that, he really can't. So is the 23%, 28% inflation in Nigeria, is it driven by food or by monetary? It's driven by both, right? But maybe food is more. He can focus on his own monetary side and bring that down. He has increased interest rates, which reduces the supply of money in the economy to suck money out of the economy. That he can do, that he has done. So that would work for him. But the food part, he can't do anything about that. So he's saying that between 29 and 24 is what he's going to address. Probably possible. He can even do more. But once he does his own monetary side, his hands are tied. He can't grow rice. And that's why inflation is high in Nigeria, because rice and tubers are high in Nigeria, i.e. the cost of the price in Nigeria is high. That's why. So he's limited. He has done his. He has scored full marks. It's for the fiscal and the executive to then do theirs. and get this thing under control.
Yeah, interesting one there. Let me take a couple of policies and get your reaction to that. The floating of the naira. You say, okay, we don't have to have the official and the parallel market. Let everything be unified. These are one of the few policies of President Tinubu when he came, you know, through the CBN to say, okay, no need to have one price for at point A and have another price for point B. Let's float it. And after the floating, as at yesterday, we are saying 1,700 naira per dollar. Is it a bad policy, or there are some persons within the ecosystem just, you know, circumventing the whole thing? What's your thought on that?
No, it was a good policy. Again, we did price control of the dollar. So we went in the past and we said we're going to lock a dollar to 500 naira. It was our 487 or so. So we locked the price of a naira to a dollar. When you peg, you are going to use your reserves to maintain that peg. So we had about 33 billion. But JP Morgan told us that 33 billion is already spoken for. We borrowed on that money. So the actual reserves we had about 3 to 5 billion. If you have 3 to 5 billion, you can't maintain a peg. It's maths. You can't maintain a peg. So the naira has got to float to make the naira go to its real value. The naira is not falling. It's depreciating to its real value. The real value of the naira is this 17 you are quoting. That's the real value. It's not 500. So when people say it's falling, it's like saying maybe Arsenal is going to win Champions League. Okay, how? You know, you get the point I'm making. It's got to go to its real value, which is the 17 or even more. That's the value. And if you export, the price goes up. Because when you export, you are building up your reserves. But if you have no reserves, you're not exporting crude oil. Why should your naira be 500? It doesn't make any sense. The issue is not the exchange rate. The exchange is the result of the exam. The exam is exports. If you export, your naira gains value. If you don't export, your naira does not gain value. Let me make this point. When you go to school abroad, you are importing. When you go to hospitals abroad, you are importing. When you go for tourism abroad, you are importing. So when you have net exports, your currency goes up. If you have net imports, your currency falls. Pure and simple.
All right. By the way, kind of a shade to Arsenal fans there.
Exactly.
You know, here that said they might not win the Champions League, but you know.
Apologies, bro.
That's a you know, on the lighter note. Now, 2 quick questions as we wind down. The Nigerian budget 2024, you know, was pegged at a particular naira to, I can't recall it now, naira to dollar, I think 750 naira or thereabout, by the way. But then as it is today, as is reported in the dailies, I think the Vanguard has this headline, Forest Crisis, 2024 budget suffers major dislocations. Because with what we are seeing right now, less than 1,000 naira per dollar budget pegging obviously is not visible. And they are saying benchmark exchange rates now have the value. If it's put at 750 or 800 naira, when they were fixing the budget, it has doubled that size right now, and the revenue expenditure estimates are unrealistic. What will this do to our budget performance and our economy as it is right now?
Well, first of all, you don't have a budget anymore. I think on Twitter, I wrote that the budget is gone. And I think 2 weeks ago, I'd written what the president should do, steps the president should take. Number one, have to call back the 2024 budget and do it again. Call it back completely because it's gone. There's no budget. It's gone, right? Do a new budget. This time, leave everything out. Leave even the capex out. Only spend money on social services for now, for the next, say, 9 months or so left of the government, which means if it's not going to go to the people to increase their social welfare, don't spend it. Even if it means don't build roads anymore. We have what we call survival mode. You asked about Venezuela. Google misery index. That's high employment, high inflation. That's where Nigeria is right now. So you can't be spending money on the road, right, if people can't feed. And I'm an economist. I'm not giving you guys the fact. You have to tackle the immediate social issues today. So pull back the budget, pull back the spending. Everything that is not tied to human capital expenditure should go away, which means trainings abroad. Stop that. When means even capex that's not going to be used today, stop it. Take everything and focus on the people. Healthcare, food, education, focus on that for the first 9 months and stabilize the economy. If it means benchmarking the budget going forward to the dollar, not using the dollar, but benchmarking to the dollar so that we know exactly what we're doing, do it. You've got to guard this thing under control. You know, when you see a wild horse, you bring it under control first before you dress it up. Yeah. Right now, we're trying to dress up a mad horse, but the horse is galloping all over the place. That's inflation. So you have to bring it under control first before you dress it up. Otherwise, what are you talking about the budget when you have 1,500? And that's what we plan for.
All right. You know, quickly, one of these Brentwood institutions is the IMF, you know, and we learned of the advisory they are giving the Nigerian government to say, guys, as a nation, hands off everything called subsidy. You should stop the full payment of, hands off the payment of subsidy from fuel, because there are some insinuations that payment is back from the back door. The government have denied it several times, say we are not paying subsidy on fuel again. And the IMF are saying stop the payment of subsidy on fuel and even electricity, hands off, so that you can save some money. And some analysts have said Nigeria cannot afford that. If it happens with this kind of inflation that we are having, can the nation afford it? What would be your take on that? This IMF advisory, how many persons are saying maybe they are not even sincere after all with all the advice?
So the IMF is your strict uncle. When you mess up, you go to the IMF and they fix you. So IMF on its own, they don't leave them alone. If you mess your economy up, then you have to run to them. The advice is good, but Nigeria can't afford it. I see where they're coming from. They're saying, listen, you have a lot of expenses, so take away subsidies so you can have money to spend in Nigeria. It's good advice, but Nigeria can't afford it. You can't increase the price of energy in Nigeria. Who will pay for it? There'll be riots. You also cannot increase the price of fuel again. We've tried the PMF subsidy removal, and you can see what happened. People couldn't afford it because the palliatives were not there. Again, remember what I said. Once it's imported or it's priced in dollars, Nigerians can't afford it. You have to subsidize it. The problem is there's nothing wrong with a subsidy. It's what are you subsidizing? In the past, we subsidized the PMS imports at the ports. You can subsidize it at the pumps to make sure that only Nigerians in Nigeria get it. There are many ways you can do. Use NIN, use e-Naira, tie the price of fuel to your car chassis so only Nigerians will enjoy it. If you don't do that right, you can't really have any PMS import subsidy. Nigerians can't afford it. The IMF is correct, but the answer is not to remove the subsidy because then no one can afford it. There'll be no consumption. The economy will grind to a halt. So we have maybe do a minimum or maybe themselves as a hybrid model where we say, yes, these things are going to go away and maybe we'll take it off every year. We'll take off 10% every year or over a 10-year plan, something like that. There is just no way you can increase energy subsidies and remove payment subsidies immediately in an economy that has zero consumption. As at 2022, I mean, Nigerian Bureau of Statistics already said Nigerians do not consume. So if you add this new cost, there'll be no consumption at the family level. That's just going to be catastrophic.
All right, Mr. Aja, we are, winding down on this show this morning. But I'd like you to also speak to the subnationals, the state governors, the state government. When you spoke about the issue of the national budget being gone, you said we don't have a budget anymore, that the president should recall the budget and we should, refix it or redo it. Does this also apply to the subnationals, their budget?
That is correct, because the subnationals get their income from the sale of crude oil. So they are on the same assumption. We're going to sell crude oil. They get a share of that crude oil sales, and that's what forms the revenue base of their budget. So a state will say, we're going to get FAC returns, and those FAC returns are based on the sale of crude oil. But when you have crude oil sales are down 1.3 million barrels today, you have inflation is up. It affects all the states in Nigeria. So their budgets are also gone. So you have to also look at those states, especially the state budget, because that's where the people meet. They meet the people at the point of need, right? So if the state cannot deliver, or if the state gets its money, if he gets 500 million naira and he got it in January, he could do a road. Now he can't do that same road. So what do? You've got to cut down everything the state is doing and then focus only on human capital. If it's not going to be human capital, don't do it. Don't start a new road. Don't start a new airport. What you have to do today is to make sure people can feed, people can go to the hospitals and go to school. If it's not that for the next 9 months, don't do it.
All right,
I wish our governors can hear that, because they pride themselves in doing roads. Capital projects. They want their names, you know, attached to such projects. So if you tell them to go on social projects, they're like, who will actually, what will people see in 10 years to come that I did? You know, but it is what it is.
These are the issues, by the way. And, you know, as we thank you and say our goodbyes, in 15-30 seconds, the federal government are saying, you know, since the removal of the subsidy, there are more money distributed to the state, that the state now have more money. And many people in those states doesn't even know that the allocations have increased. Are we holding state responsible enough? Because some of them are getting as much as almost double of what they used to have before. But it's looking like business as usual. Nothing is showing. The effect is not being felt on the people. Talking about subnational.
Yeah, you're correct. We have to hold the states to account. And the president should do that himself. The president should go and say, I gave this state money. I gave this, publish it. You just can't say, publish it. It's his own party. Publish how much you give to the state. Because of OHIOLEI to publish state allocation, local government data. Publish what you give the state. Hold the state government accountable. Let that who say, where did these billions go to? You are totally correct. The president is right on that. Publish it. Put them under pressure. That's what you need to do. And guys, also as well, I want to invite you guys for my book signing. I'm doing my book signing on Friday. Come over. I'm in Lagos. Yeah. Come on, let's get that book signed. Let's talk about your money. My book on personal finance.
All right. Thank you, and we wish you all the best with that as well. Kalu Aja is a financial analyst, and he has been speaking with us for almost an hour now, talking about the economy. We sincerely thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir.
All right, you're welcome. And of course, these are the issues. We won't stop till we get a better nation that we are proud of, from the national to the subnationals. Let's just be responsible. And where we started this morning, even as humans, as private citizens, don't let us add more burden to the people. If you make your normal gains, I think it's okay. After all, the blessings of the Lord make it rich.
And hearts no sorrows.
As I say, FEMI just money. We see you tomorrow.
And I am EVELYN. Stay tuned for Spring Trends coming right after this broadcast.